The Mew is actually not a bad start because it has free retreat, so you can retreat out if you need to. And having the Bulu already on the bench does give that opportunity to choose which attacker to attack with. So right now, Vinicius is looking through the deck, looking to see what the prize cards are, and getting out that early game grubbin.
Yeah, so that's exactly what he wants to see. Of course, with Nest Ball being sort of a key Pokemon finding card, which we didn't actually cover in the slides, just it lets you grab any basic Pokemon for your deck and put it straight onto your bench. It's a really, really cool card exactly in this deck because you can get out your Tapu Bulus and get out your Grubbins and set yourself up really nicely.
Yeah, that is one thing with a Vikavolt deck. You do need to evolve not only into a Stage 1, but a Stage 2 Pokemon to start powering up your other Pokemon. So it will take you a little bit of time to pull into that. However, there is a trainer card, Rare Candy, that these players both play, which allows them to skip one turn, so they might be able to get that turn to Vikavolt.
Yeah, they might indeed. Now, another ball card being played there from Vinicius' side, he played a Heavy Ball. This allows you to search your deck for any Pokemon with a retreat cost of 3 or less, and so with that, he's able to get out the Tapu Bulu GX, and now he's going to follow that up with a Skylar, and it looks like he's going to grab himself a Cynthia for next turn.
Yeah. Using Skylar, generally you want to get that item card used that turn. However, it has the ability to also get supporters in stadiums, which is great, because you can pull out that supporter that you need for next turn. You might be looking at your hand saying, hey, I'm not going to be able to draw anything next turn with this hand, so let's go ahead and get that draw supporter. Cynthia, of course, being a great one.
Yes, so now with that, Vinicius just passes, and Matias has to think about what he wants to do best here. So he obviously wants to set up his Vikavolt, but he's attaching a Lightning to the active Mew, and he's benching Oranguru. I don't see a way for him to get a Grubbin in his hand. It looks like he's forced to play an N, and he kind of really needs to see a Grubbin here, because otherwise, in terms of the tempo he has, Vinicius has already got his Grubbin down, and he's going to be much closer to achieving that Vikavolt GX. Not Vikavolt GX, that does exist, but that's not in either list. But much closer to achieving that Vikavolt, and at that point, he can just keep charging up his Tapu Bulu and knock out everything Matias has, and that's going to be a very ugly very quickly.
Yeah, I find it interesting that he attached the electric energy, because in his hand he did have a grass energy. Mew would have been able to copy Tapu Bulu's first attack, which doesn't do a whole lot, but get a little bit of damage on the board, could turn into something later in the game. Oh, he is using Mew's Encounter attack. Instead of copying the using the ability to cap on another attack, uses the attack that's actually on the card to search for a Pokemon.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly why he went for this Lightning Energy, is because he was kind of committed to going for the encounter anyway. Doing 30 on a Tapu Lele doesn't really achieve a whole lot, so it makes more sense for him to just use encounter and grab himself another Pokemon so that he can keep on his chain and actually able to set himself up nicely. The only interesting question here is whether he actually goes for another Grubbin or a Vikavolt. It looks like he's gone for the Vikavolt here, so that tells me he probably has access to Rare Candy next turn, or at least he's hoping to get it somehow.
Yeah, Vikavolt being a Stage 2, you do need the Rare Candy to evolve into it. So in order to get that, you got to be pretty confident you're able to evolve it next turn, because in his hand, I did see a Sycamore. You don't want to Sycamore your Stage 2 after you just searched for it. So.
Yeah, no, that would not be ideal in the slightest. Oh, there is a Skylar in his hand.
Okay, Skylar, of course, being able to search for any trainer card. Rare Candy is a trainer card, so there we go.
Yeah, so he will have that all ready to go for the next turn, assuming Vinicius doesn't play an N. Now, he does have an Ultra Ball in his hand, so he could go for an N of a Tapu Lele GX, but whether he wants to is another matter.
Yeah, Vinicius does have a couple of different options here. Playing that defensive end early in the game, preventing your opponent from setting up that Vikavolt might be a great idea, but then maybe Vinicius wants to get himself set up as well.
And it looks like he's opted to play an Ultra Ball, discarding another Ultra Ball and a Grass Energy. Now, he doesn't have the Rare Candy in hand, I believe, so it looks like he's just going to grab another Grubbin here and then probably plays another Draw Supporter and just, again, try and dig through his deck a little bit more and find that two-piece puzzle of Rare Candy plus the Vikavolt.
That's right. Also taking an extra minute here, looks like he wants to double-check. He knows what his prize cards are. Actually, it looks like he went for the Tapu Lele, pulling out the N, going for a very smart defensive slash supporting play.
Yeah, so go for the N here, knowing that Matias has the Vikavolt in hand. He's got to assume that the Rare Candy's there too, so, or at least a way to get to it. So quite cleverly going for the N with the Tapu Lele, but not for an Energy Recycler, and then that way he will be able to shuffle it away, and maybe Matias doesn't hit it next turn.
Energy Recycler. I love the card. Not very often seen in decks other than theme decks. Such a great card for this deck because it allows you to search for up to 5 basic energies and put them back into your deck. Vikavolt, Tapu Bulu, using a lot of energy, discarding a lot of energy throughout the normal course of play. So being able to put those back in your deck is great. However, that being said, it was early in the game. I think there was only 1 grass energy in the discard pile, so it was more of a let's go ahead and use this while we can.
Yeah, absolutely. So now he's going to be able to draw 6 off of this end here. If he's able to find a rare candy Vikavolt, he could have a really, really strong turn. He actually could just knock out the Mew, and with the Tapu Lele even, just using Strong Charge to put an extra energy onto the Tapu Lele GX.
And it does look like he has a way of getting that. There is an Ultra Ball in his hand currently.
And he has the rare candy.
And the rare candy as well. So let's see if it comes into play.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. I mean, if you have access to it, there's no reason to not go for it, right? Yeah, there's the Vikavolt.
There it is.
And that rare candy is going to get slammed down. The Grubbin will become a Vikavolt. And Vinicius already is going to be able to take a commanding lead in this game just by the virtue of him being able to set up so well.
Yeah, Vikavolt has that really great strong charge ability. Once during a turn, you can search your deck for both a grass energy and an electric energy and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. So you can either spread out those 2 energies or put them both on the same Pokemon. That flexibility is really crucial for this deck because you can either set up 2 different attackers or just go right in with the one. And here is a situation where it looks like he's going to separate the energies because that Mew only having 50 hit points.
Yeah, so then he's able to use Energy Drive for 60, which will be enough to knock out the Mew and help Vinicius just pick up his first prize card. Now, he's going to be back onto Matias, who needs to... Oh, and he draws the rare candy!
And suddenly, both players having a Vikavolt in play. Both are able to start strong charging. So all Matias needs here is an energy from hand, can attach 2 using that strong charge, and we'll be able to attack with Tapu Bulu GX's stronger attack.
Yeah, so that's a really, really great start for Matias as well. So mirroring the sort of immediate turn to Vikavolt, and actually this could work out quite nicely for him because he will be able to take a knockout on this Tapu Lele GX, and unlike Vinicius' attack, he was actually able to, Vinicius was out the Mew, which is worth 1 prize. Matias is going to be able to take 2 prizes here. So he's going to be, assuming he could do that 2 more times in a row, actually the tempo of prizes means that Matias is going to win this game, and all of a sudden, he's potentially in the driving seat.
That's right. We saw that Mew, he was getting ready to get that earlier. He had the Ultra Ball in hand, getting out the Mew from Fate's Collide, using Strong Charge onto the Mew. And it looks like he must have some way to switch out. Oh, we did see the Guzma earlier from the Tapu Lele.
Wow, so that's even stronger because now he can use the Mew, and he has to play out his entire hand to do it, but he's got the Oranguru's Instruct, so that's absolutely fine. He can bring up the Tapu Bulu, bring up his own Mew, knock it out, and this is an insane turn.
Oranguru only gets you up to 3 cards, but when you get your hand down that low is such a crucial ability, being able to just get those extra cards when you need them. And Mew, 50 hit points, but man, is it going to do a lot of damage.
It is. Wow. What an insane comeback turn from Matias, and now Vinicius is really got to be really careful.
That's right. Vinicius just lost the Tapu Bulu in play, lost some of those energy attachments, putting a Choice Band onto the Vikavolt. Will we see a Vikavolt attack?
I mean, Vikavolt's attack isn't too bad. It does do 150 damage for a lightning and 3 colorless, having to discard free energy to do it. But it's a 1 prize attacker. So if Vinicius is worried about the prize trade falling too much not in his favor, then he could maybe do a KO of a Vikavolt 1 time and just try and make a comeback that way. Although it looks like he's actually opted to attach an extra energy to the active Tapu Lele and then do a strong charge onto the bench Bulu.
Yeah, obviously using the energy drive attack on Tapu Lele to knock out the Mew. Since Mew discarded all of its energy to use Tapu Bulu's attack, they will need to put 3 energies onto the Tapu Lele to knock out that 50 hit point Mew, and we see Vinicius putting those strong charge onto the Mew himself. Yeah,
and it looks like actually corrected me. He opted not to go for the Bulu, but actually opted to attach the energy to his own Mew instead, thinking, again, just trying to think to himself, how do I make this prize trade go more in my favor? There's a Field Blower discarding the Choice Band, and we know that Matias still has access to his Strong Charge, of course, but he has the wrong color energy in his hand.
That's right. Tapu Bulu, GX. You do need 2 grass energies and a colorless energy for its Nature's Judgment attack. So you want to manually attach a grass energy from hand and then use that strong charge to attach the electric and grass. The electric, of course, providing the energy for the colorless cost so that you could use the attack fully powered up in 1 turn.
Yeah, and it looks like Matias was able to find the grass and an energy recycler, so this is going to be another really, really strong turn from him. He'll be able to use that energy recycler to put all his energy back. 2 of them could go onto the Tapu Bulu, and then he can attach the grass in his hand, and he can get the knockout on the Tapu Lele and be 2 prizes away from winning the game.
That's right. Just clarifying for everybody watching at home, the energy recycler does shuffle those cards back into the deck, and Matias just went ahead and said, I'm going to get these 2 cards anyways with this strong charge, so I'm just going to put these 2 here right now and shuffle the other 3 cards into my deck.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's debating whether to bench this other Tapu Bulu, and indeed he does, worried that, you know, in case his active Tapu Bulu goes down and he gets end, for example, and he's left without an attacker, that wouldn't be ideal. But other than that, he's in a very strong position. He even decides to Ultra Ball, discarding a couple of things just to make sure that if Vinicius has an N, then he falls less victim to that, and he's able to draw more useful cards off of his Oranguru as well.
Absolutely. Ultra Ball. You generally think discarding cards is a downside. However, in this situation, discarding those 2 cards that you might not need later in the matchup is a definite pro because, like you said, when you get end, if that were to happen, you would lose some cards there. So we do see a Nature's Judgment attack doing the optional additional 60 damage for 180. Does knock out the Tapu Lele GX for 2 more prize cards.
Yeah, and with that, Matias is only 1-2 prize knockout away from winning, and Vinicius still has 4 prizes left to take. So he's gonna put down his own Oranguru, but actually after that, he's just gonna go for a Sycamore. He does see a lightning energy off of that. Of course, he only needs 1 grass energy on the Mew to get the KO, and he can put those back into his deck with Super Rod so that he can strong charge them.
That's right. We do see the Super Rod here being played. Again, a lot of people do opt to go for the Rescue Stretcher because it allows you to give the option of putting the Pokemon into your hand. However, in a deck like this, where putting those basic energies back in the deck is so crucial, I do agree with the option here of Super Rod, and you can also put back the Tapu Bulu GX.
Yeah, Super Rod's a very... I think you probably want to play Super Rod over Rescue Stretcher in this kind of deck just because you want to recover the energy a lot as well. And if you need to recover Pokemon, then of course you can use the Super Rod for that, and then just use the energy recycler to get the energy back instead. But if you need just that much energy recovery, it's better to have the option on both sides.
All right, so it does look like Vinicius putting a grass energy from the strong charge onto the active Mew and putting the electric onto the benched Vikavolt. We might be seeing a Vikavolt attack here later.
Yeah, we might have to because, again, it's like we already said, Matias only has 2 prizes left to take, so Vinicius really needs to focus on only attacking with things that give up 1 prize so that maybe he can make a comeback in that swing of tempo of how the prizes have gone so far.
All right, so... we see that Oranguru promotes to the active position. Not generally a place you want to have it, so I'm thinking we're going to be seeing a Guzma later played or a Floatstone. Generally, you do not want to have that Pokemon in the active position.
No, and I think this is exactly what's going to happen here. So there's going to be an Ultra Ball discarding, well, let's be the Tapu Lele and a Bridget. We're going to see him maybe go for another Tapu Lele and Wonder Tag for a Guzma, unless he actually doesn't have one. No, he's actually... I don't see any Guzma in his deck.
We could be looking at a Psychic here.
Maybe.
Maybe the player is thinking, hey, I'm going to attack with this Oranguru, which does enough damage to knock out the Mew. Oh, no, only giving 1 prize.
Oh, no, he had another Tapu Lele in his hand, and actually, there is a Guzma left there, so...
Oh, there's my boy Guzma.
Yeah, so now it's going to come down to entirely whether Matias is able to draw a grass energy. He's probably not going to strong charge straight away because that makes him actually less likely to draw the grass, but now he's gone for the Guzma, he'll be able to use that to bring up either the Tapu Lele or the Tapu Bulu, bring up his own Tapu Bulu, and then hopefully instruct and see the grass. There's the Guzma, brings up the Bulu, and his own one. Instruct. There's an Ultra Ball. I don't see a grass.
I do not see a grass. And, of course, Guzma, being his supporter for the turn, cannot play either the Cynthia or the Sycamore in hand. Unfortunately, it looks like that might have been...
Yeah, he took a calculated gamble there, and unfortunately for him, it did not pay off.
Yeah, definitely the best play. I don't think anybody could argue that. However, only having 1 Vikavolt in play, could only use Strong Charge once, putting a grass and electric, but again, Tapu Bulu's main attack does need 2 grass energies and a colorless for Nature's Judgment, and so we just see a horn attack here dealing 30 damage.
Yeah, that's a swing and a miss for Matias, and now Vinicius does have the potential to win here if he's able to just get this Tapu Bulu powered up, and he's got 2 Vicavolts.
2 Vicavolts. You can use both strong charges. I think we're in good shape here, but I think Vinicius wants to double check the energy count in deck.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's going to go for the Ultra Ball here, I guess, or no, go for a Choice Band, and then it's interesting that he's not just going for the win here, because he's just that worried that he doesn't have enough energy, perhaps.
That could be. Like we said, he does play the Ultra Ball there. Looking through his... there's not much energy left.
He actually doesn't have enough.
He can use 1 strong charge, but then he's going to need to find his way to that energy recycler in deck to put some energies back from the discard pile into his deck.
Yeah, getting nothing from the Ultra Ball there, just failing it. And now... Yeah, wow, I wasn't really expecting this position to happen. There's a strong charge. He's got 1 grass and 1 lightning left. There is 1 energy recycler left in his deck. He needs to hit it this turn.
That's right. We're going to see definitely those 2 energy cards going onto the active Tapu Bulu GX. Don't know what other cards are in Vinicius's hand here, trying to find way into...
He got a Sycamore of the Instruct!
Drawing 7 cards. Can't be a whole lot of cards left. Should be able to hit that energy recycler.
But he misses!
Oh, wow.
Oh,
lots of great cards there, but not that 1 card needed to seal the victory. So it looks like we're going to be seeing another horn attack here.
Yeah, we are. A couple of very big swings and misses from both sides, but recognizing that, and actually it looks like Vinicius is going to concede.
Just conceding. Probably talked to Matias and was like, do you have a way to get the grass? He said yes, so let's save some time for games 2 and possibly game 3. So first game going to Matias.
Yeah, wow, that's absolutely incredible, especially given it was very springy, because we saw again very back and forth, and that's how if both players set up, this is normally how the Vikavolt Tapu Bulu mirrors go. Sometimes there's 1 prize missed here or 2 prizes missed there. It can be all the difference between who actually ends up manages to get the exact edge needed to win, and Matias just had it that game.
That's right. Any mirror match, really. The first player to get set up, and then even after that, just missing a couple turns can make a huge difference here. Obviously, the opponent here had several ways of searching their deck. Draw into that Sycamore, drawing 7 cards, but of those last couple cards left in the deck, that's where the energy recycler was. Wasn't able to get that grass energy back into the deck. Even had both Vicavolts. Things were looking really good, but just happened to miss the draw.
Yeah, and missing the draw was all the difference. So now... and again, normally this is the point where I'd say, what does even player really need to do differently in order to maybe give themselves that extra little bit of edge in games 2 and 3? But I don't think there's much even could have really done. There's things that they both needed on certain turns, and either certain turns they just hit it or they didn't. So they both knew exactly how to execute their strategies, but sometimes just that's the nature of the game. Sometimes your deck just doesn't cooperate with you exactly the way you need, and you end up in this situation here.
Now, real quick, I do want to talk about earlier in the game. They were both very well utilizing their Muse from Fates Collide, using them to do major damage, but only giving up 1 prize card in return.
Yeah, and that's very impressive from Vinicius' side, especially considering he only plays 1 Mew, so he had to time that much more perfectly than Matias would have done, given that Matias has 3 to work with. So that was very impressive from Vinicius' side too.
And then, of course, we did see a Tapu Lele attack a couple times, because Tapu Lele doesn't need a whole lot of energies to knock out that Mew.
No, indeed it doesn't. Now, just looking at the opening hands there, it looks like Matias has a double Grubbin start, and now it will be interesting to see what exactly Vinicius has to respond with. He's starting with a Tapu Bulu, so that's actually really good. Probably a better start, actually, than starting with a Grubbin.
Yeah, Tapu Bulu, really good start, because you can attack with it right off the bat. Even if you only have a grass energy, you can do that horn attack to start putting some damage out early in the board, or use it twice to knock out a Mew.
Yeah, and that's going to be really strong if you're able to do that. Now, both these players are set up now. We will be ready to kick off with game 2 in a bit, although it looks like they're having some kind of discussion with the judges.
Looks like they just want to clarify what's going on with the situation here. Just want to verify who's going first.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm not quite sure what's going on. We're just going to let the judges we're going to sort this out real quickly. Hopefully we'll be ready to kick off real soon.
I see a thumbs up and a handshake, and here they go.
Yep, so off with game 2 of round 10. And it looks like, well, obviously, Vinicius, given that he lost, will be going first. And he starts off with a grass on the active and a choice band and a nest ball.
That is a really good start. Getting that energy attached, the grass energy specifically, getting that choice band attached, and now playing a nest ball. Probably going to go for that early grubbin.
Yeah, well, absolutely. He knows that having the advantage of being able to go first and get the first Vikavolt out will be a huge asset to him in terms of making sure that he's able to take his 6 prizes before Matias does. And this is really one of those matchups where, like we already said, it's very back and forth. Hit me, hit you, hit me, hit you. So if nothing else, if everything goes to plan for both players, in theory, Vinicius should have the advantage here and win. But as we saw in the last game, it doesn't always pan out that way.
That's right. Vinicius is all too aware that sometimes when something should happen, it doesn't always happen. So doing everything that he can to get into the game. Looks like he plays a supporter early on. Was that a Sycamore?
Yeah, that was a Sycamore. And he gets the Oranguru off that, which is very nice for him. And he has a Vikavolt in his hand, but no access to a rare candy yet. So, and even if he did, obviously he can't play at turn 1, so he just passes. That's
right. So now back to Matias' turn. Playing an Ultra Ball early on, searching deck, probably looking for a turn 1 Tapu Lele here.
Either that or maybe just looking to get a Tapu Bulu down just so that he has his main attacker ready to go.
We do have a couple options here, so...
Oh, from looking at his deck, I don't know if perhaps one of them is just sticking to another card, but I think I only saw 1 Mew in Matias' deck, which means 2 of them are prized.
Yeah, that could be quite the game changer here. Mew obviously seeing lots of work in the last game. Matias looking through here, just double checking what the prize cards were. I think I saw 2 Mew there actually. Yeah, there's 2.
Yeah, sorry, there's 2. So one of them's prized.
So, and getting the Tapu Lele, using that Wonder Tag ability to search the deck for any 1 supporter card.
He goes to the Bridget.
Bridget's a really good turn 1 supporter.
Yeah, it is. So he's able to give out another Grubbin, so he has 3. Yeah, as if 2 wasn't good enough, just get 3 of them out. Why not? And then he's able to get himself out as well a Tapu Bulu and a Mew, although maybe not the Tapu Bulu?
Well, one of the interesting things about Bridget, since it was printed before Pokemon GX came into existence, it is able to get a Pokemon GX as well as 2 other cards. It does specify you can only get 1 Pokemon EX, but that same restriction does not apply to GXs. So getting 2 basics here and a basic GX, very powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the real. The big play that's Vinicius will want to do this turn, if he can, is to Guzma up that Tapu Bulu and get KO with a Nature's Judgment. Now, it's not going to be easy for him to do necessarily, but KOing 1 Grubbin does absolutely nothing for Vinicius. It's 1 prize. It's in terms of prize tempo, it's not that great, and Matias has 2 more Grubbins to follow up with, so it really doesn't achieve anything for him if he was forced to KO that Grubbin.
Vinicius playing the Ultra Ball, discarding 1 of the energy recycles early to use it. Probably had quite the selection there to make, realizing last game, man, I really wish I had that energy recycler. So probably a little concerned with discarding it early, but sometimes you got to make those decisions to make the game work. And looks like we saw a Tapu Lele for a Skyla to search the deck for a trainer card, being the rare candy, playing rare candy to evolve it into Vikavolt, and then using Vikavolt's strong charge ability right away to attach a grass and an electric energy to that active Tapu Bulu GX.
Showing the strength of Skylar in this deck, just getting you that 1 piece that you need that's missing if you already had the Vikavolt in hand, able to find the rare candy and evolve up, and not only that, but able to use strong charge to do enough to take the KO. But again, like we said, carrying the Grubbin doesn't necessarily achieve a lot for him here, so it'll be interesting to see how that actually plays out. Although Matias, he had the rare candy in hand, but he didn't have any way to search the Pokemon, so he actually was forced to play a Cynthia.
Yeah, what I really like here, one of the nice things about Tapu Bulu GX, you are not required to discard all the energy. You have the option to. So Nature's Judgment doing 120 damage, not discarding the energy. That way the energy can stay there for another big attack later on.
Yeah, and that's really important that you have that flexibility, because sometimes, you want to KO something which has less than 180 HP, or rather less than 120 HP, but you don't want to be forced to discard if you can. But a huge find is he able to get the. Also, so 2 games in a row, we've had both players have the turn 2 rare candy Vikavolt.
Absolutely. So we're going to be probably seeing these strong charges early. Is there grass in the hand to use that strong attack from our Tapu Bulu GX?
No, there's not, and that's going to be the key miss here for Matias. He really did need both the strong charge access and the extra grass energy, but he did not actually find it. So he's going to have to switch lanes here and think about what the best way to attack for him might actually be.
Yeah, Vikavolt does give you the option to spread out the energy, so you don't have to dedicate them both to the same Pokemon, which allows Mew to actually use a different attack. And it looks like he went ahead and used Encounter.
Yeah, looks like Matias actually quite likes going for this, and it does make sense. You know, it's a consistency option just to search deck for another Pokemon, and given that doing 30 damage to the Tapu Bulu doesn't achieve anything, like getting another Mew out with Encounter just kind of gets you a lot further on, and it means that the follow-up attack you'll have after this Mew inevitably goes down will be a lot better.
Absolutely. All right, back on Vinicius' side, we see a grass attached to that Mew from Fates Collide, a strong charge. Looks like we're going to be powering up the Mew as well, having 2 attackers out in the field very quickly.
And that's going to be very, very good for him. So there goes the strong charge onto the Mew. So, yeah, that's a really... Look at the strength of Vinicius' board right now. I mean, both players have a Vikavolt set up, but the comparison of the energy just, isn't even there.
Now, Vinicius did have both looked like a Lily and a Guzma in hand. Has to decide whether do you want to draw additional cards or do you want to go for that knockout. Bringing up the Vikavolt. I really like this play.
Oh, I like this a lot as well. And again, especially given the lack of energy on Matias' side, this forces him now to try and find another Rare Candy Vikavolt.
That's right. Using that encounter to search for a Mew might have actually not been the best play. Perhaps should have looked for a Vikavolt to see if there was a way. Oh, well, there's a Sycamore in the hand. Probably didn't want to get the Vikavolt.
Yeah, and something else I really like to draw attention to here. Actually, Mew there copied Nature's Judgment GX. So this is the Tapu Bulu's GX attack, which does 150, then heals it entirely. But it's a way of him doing a one-hit knockout on the Vikavolt without having to discard his energy.
Wow. That's some high-level thinking right there, because normally you wouldn't think, the heal mechanic's really good. The heal mechanic is really good, but this hitting that right number to knock out the Vikavolt, it does use up your GX attack for the game, but it conserves your energy, so that way later on you can attack for the big one, and it looks like Mew taking the knockout, hitting for weakness using one of the attacks in play.
No, it wasn't a matter of hitting for weakness. So Mew just copied Energy Drive from Tapu Lele, so that was the unfortunate drawback of not being able to discard all the energy. Perhaps maybe it might have been actually better to go for the Nature's Judgment after all, but maybe Vinicius was just thinking that Matias didn't have an energy and was hoping to get another attack off with his Mew.
Well, Mew could have also used Horn Attack, only had an electric energy attached to it, so it needed a grass regardless. So energy attachment was in hand, so either way, it did complete the knockout as intended.
Yeah, so there goes the energy recycler from Vinicius and attaching a grass and a lightning to the new bench Tapu Bulu GX, and now going to be an attachment to the Tapu Lele GX after which there'll be an Instruct, and now that Tapu Lele is doing enough of energy drive to knock out the Mew.
And so we do see a choice band going onto the Tapu Bulu GX as well, and a Lily after Vinicius brought the hand down to a very small size, allowing to draw up to 6 cards. Very strong, and benching the Grubbin as well.
Yeah, indeed, benching the Grubbin just in case the Matias decides to try to do to Vinicius what Vinicius did to him. Better to have a second Grubbin in reserve ready to evolve up into a Vikavolt. But there's not going to be a Guzma here from Matias. It looks like instead it's going to be a Skylar, and that I'm assuming that means he'll be able to get another Vikavolt out.
Matias looking through the deck, looking to see. Yeah, it is getting rare candy, so there must be a way for Matias to have a Vikavolt, if not already in hand, to continue with the strong charges. Yeah,
and that's exactly what he needed to see, so that's a really good find for him. And yeah, there it is, Rare Candy Vikavolt, and given that there's already a Grass Energy on the Tapu Bulu, it now will be able to do Nature's Judgment and KO the Tapu Lele.
Now, we have seen a lot of energies attached so far, so I'm wanting to know how many more attachments we're going to be able to do here. Do only see 2 Grass, it looks like, in the deck, unless there were a couple stuck to each other, so Matias really should be looking here for some way to recover energy back into the deck.
Yeah, and there's also a Grass of Lightning in his hand, so that would not help either. Oh, he's got the Oranguru down as well, so again, it's going to be really, really strong for him. And actually, it's just going to go for the Nature's Judgment again as well.
Having that choice band attached does allow that to take the knockout onto the Tapu Lulu GX without having to discard the energy, just in case Vinicius is not able to come back around and knock out the Tapu Lulu GX as well.
But it's actually an interesting play though, because the knockout is already ready here, so maybe he's just using it because he felt like it.
Well, it also gives the option here. Vinicius now can no longer just go and attack the Vikavolt on the bench with having no energy on the field. Vinicius now sees that Tapu Bulu GX in front and has to try to knock that one out. Can't try to knock out the Vikavolt and leave Matias in a position where there's no energy on the field except for that one grass energy.
Okay, that makes sense. So essentially it's forcing Vinicius to not perhaps go for the more optimal play of carrying the Vikavolt and instead dealing with the active. Okay.
All right, so we see a Cynthia here. Cynthia, really great card, printing it in the last set Ultra Prism. Allows you to shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 6 cards. Really a great card. I'm glad it came out because N was always great, but late in game, he would only be drawing 3 cards right now, so instead he draws a full 6.
Yeah, indeed he does, and he's drawing pretty well off that as well. Able to find another Tapu Bulu GX, another Ultra Ball gets played as well. He's able to find another Vikavolt. Does he have another Rare Candy in hand, I wonder?
If you're searching for a Vikavolt, I'm going to go ahead and guess that there's a Rare Candy, and there is. So now Vinicius able to use Strong Charge to instant power up any Tapu Bulu GX at any point. Looks like Vinicius is in a very good position for game number 2.
Yeah, wow, he absolutely is. And not only that, but given that Matias only has one Vikavolt out and one Tapu Bulu, this is a really awkward situation because Vinicius already has a backup attacker ready to go. Matias really needs to find a Guzma this turn, KO the Bulu on the bench, and just hope that there isn't enough energy left in deck in order for the Vikavolt to do a double strong charge and just power up the fresh Bulu.
Yeah, Vinicius only needing 1 prize, so that Oranguru, who has fewer hit points, is a target. However, all of the attackers in this deck tend to take a lot of energy, so really you're going to need 3 energy regardless, it looks like, to be able to take a knockout next turn.
Yeah, and there it is. Tapu Lele gets benched. 1 attack gets used for the Guzma. It's got to be that you got to bring up that Tapu Bulu on Vinicius's bench with the free energy on it, because if you don't, you just pretty much guaranteed to lose the game next turn. At least this way, if there's not enough energy left in Vinicius's deck, there's a chance for Matias to make a comeback. There it is, the Guzma.
All right, so bringing up the other Tapu Bulu GX, using that major attack to do lots of damage. Nature's Judgment able to take the knockout. Suddenly Vinicius doesn't have any energy on the board. However, having both of those Vikavolts out, as long as the energy's in deck, should be the game.
And there it is. There's one in Vinicius' hand already as well. So there's 1 strong charge. There's the other grass from hand. Vinicius takes game 2, and we will be moving on to game 3.
Game 3, we still have, looks like, just over 17 minutes to play. That's still plenty of time for a Game 3, especially players at this high level. They know their decks, and obviously since they're playing a mirror match, they know their opponent's deck as well. So they should be able to play these games relatively quickly, as long as they are playing at a good pace and paying attention to how much time remains. The last thing you want to do in a situation like this is to get complacent, slow down your play, and cause yourself to not be able to finish the game, resulting in a tie, which only gives you 1 point instead of that golden 3 points to help guarantee your spot into the top 8.
It's like we always say, it's about striking that good balance, right? You don't want to run out on the clock, but at the same time, you want to make sure that every play you do is the right one. The best players in the world that we've seen are the ones that are able to both play super fast, but whilst at the same time making the right play each time one of those fast plays happens. Tord Rekler being a really great example of that, like we saw in round 1 yesterday. Although, like I said, they finished I think, on 5-2-2 yesterday, and not making it through. I mean, the streak has ended for him. And it's kind of sad to sort of see that story come to an end, but I mean, I guess it had to come to an end at some point, right?
Yeah, even the best players in the world can't win every single time. Still an amazing accomplishment, winning 3 of those international championships. So still amazing. Can't win every single time, and that's an important lesson to everybody at home. No matter how good a player you think you are, you're going to lose sometimes. That's just the way the game works. There can only be one winner, so if you lose, make sure you have a positive attitude about it and help cheer on the winners.
Be as graceful in victory as you are in defeat. And by that, I don't mean be ungraceful in both.
All right, so it looks like players are getting ready for the next game. I do see, it looks like, wow, 3 Pokemon going down on Vinicius' side of the field.
Yeah, wow, indeed. So, now, of course, actually, this is another sort of a small point that I'd like to make about the higher levels of play. If you're going first, then generally speaking, there's no reason to ever bench more than your active Pokemon, because you have the choice. You know wherever you're going to go first before the Pokemon get put down. And so if you are going first, then maybe there's like a 1 in a million chance that your opponent does something, which means that something that you were going to bench, then then aren't going to instead. So Matias has been quite clever in doing that, because we're assuming he doesn't have any other. Or he has any other Pokemon in his hand, because he's only opted to leave with the Mew. But if you are going second, of course, equally it is important to make sure you do put down more than one Pokemon, because otherwise, if they get end away, for example, you might not see them again.
Yeah, in this situation, he does only have the one Pokemon in play, so probably using that Ultra Ball to guarantee another Pokemon, and more than likely we're going to be looking at a Lele for the first turn, since there's nothing else on the bench. Oh!
No, actually.
Did I speak too soon?
Possibly. So just opting to go for the Grubbin here, and I believe it might be because he has a Professor Sycamore in his hand, so he might be thinking of just attaching, I believe he has one grass left in his hand, he can attach that to the active Mew and then just play the Sycamore and draw a bunch of cards.
That's right.
Oh, he actually just passes. Hold on, but he has a rare candy in his hand. Does he have access to a Vikavolt too? Because if he does...
He must have access to a Vikavolt. Probably didn't want to give up that chance of having a turn 2 Vikavolt. So opting instead to play with the safer play. Still has 2 Pokemon in play, so we don't have to worry about Vinicius knocking out his Mew as much, because then you could still promote the Grubbin to the active position.
Yeah, indeed he can. Now, Vinicius, on the other hand, does opt to go for a Tapu Lele. That's the one to tag for... Oh, a turn 1 Lily.
Lily is great. Lily allows you to draw up to 6 cards in your hand. However, if you use it on your first turn of play, you get to draw 2 extra cards, putting your hand up to 8. 8 is such a large number when drawing up the cards for your hand for using a supporter. Even ones with major drawbacks, such as Professor Sycamore, only draw up to 7, and that makes you discard your entire hand. So this one, drawing up to 8, very, very good and effective.
Yeah, and given that it's one of these supporters that lets you draw more whilst keeping the stuff that's currently in your hand there, it means that you're much more likely to be able to hit that tier 2-piece combo with Rare Candy plus a Stage 2, which in this case, I believe he actually has got ready to go. I can't get quite a good look. He has got the Vikavolt. I believe he also has... Oh, it actually just goes to the Horn Attack, KOing the Mew.
Horn Attack doing a solid 30 damage, hitting for that weakness because both Pokemon are Psychic type. And now, Matias only having a Grubbin in the active position. Interesting to see what the play is here.
Well, he's got a Tapu Lele GX. He's going to bench that. He's going to be able to use Wonder Tag. But it looks like now he's going to have to go for a Bridge Hit. So they're going for a Grubbin, a Tapu Bulu, and a Mew.
All right, so Matias able to get more Pokemon on the field. Definitely something that needs to happen, because Vinicius is starting to get aggressive really early in the game here.
And actually just passes as well. So perhaps not able to follow through with that strategy as much as he'd like. And he actually does have... Vinicius does have it. This is... Oh, wow. So Vinicius is already going to have a very big advantage. This is the first game where Matias was not able to find a turn 2 Vikavolt. So now Vinicius has it, and he's going to start taking some prizes real quickly.
That's right. Vinicius has the Vikavolt out, has the Tapu Bulu GX on the bench, and the active Mew from Fates Collide. So definitely looking at a situation here where Vinicius is going to start applying the pressure very early, forcing Matias into a recovery, comeback from behind plays. So we do see the Skyla plate here. Interesting to see any trainer in the deck can be selected. So I'm really interested to see what Vinicius chooses to pick.
I mean, if he has access to another Vikavolt, he could even just go for another Rare Candy and then have 2 out turn on the second turn. That would be insane. But it looks like actually he's just opting to go for a Nest Ball just to get himself a second Tapu Bulu out as a sort of a backup measure. And
that's actually a really good play here. Having that second Tapu Bulu GX saves Vinicius from having to worry about recover a second Bulu later in the game, since now there are 2 on the bench. If Matias brings up 1 and knocks it out somehow, still has another one in play to back it up.
Yeah, he does. And also, really good thing from Vinicius' side is that he's able to power up that Mew to attack instead of on his Tapu Bulus, and he's going to be taking another 1 prize knockout, so this puts him back onto an even number of prizes, which means that for the next 2 turns, he can just try and target down the Tapu Bulu and the Tapu Lele for the win.
All right, so Mew from Fates Collide copying that attack from the Tapu Bulu GX, knocking out the active Grubbin, and now we see a Mew.
We do, and then Matias ends up benching an Oranguru and playing an N. So this is really the turn where he needs to see that Red Candy Vikavolt. If he doesn't, then Vinicius is going to get way too far ahead, and the comeback is going to look further away and further more and more unreachable.
Yeah, and bringing Vinicius down to 4 cards. Not sure how many cards he had before that, but Matias really just needed a new hand. He needed to get some cards in there to hopefully find his way back into this game. And we do see an Ultra Ball here. Was there a way to get a rare candy?
He has 2 rare candy in his hand, so yeah, so that's really good for him. So he can breathe a sigh of relief now. There's the Ultra Ball discarding 1 of the rare candies. Obviously, he doesn't need both. And then he looks like he's going to opt to discard the Energy Recycler as well, and he will have access to his Vikavolt GX now. Although, something important to mention is that he doesn't have access to a Grass Energy in his hand, so what he might end up doing is something similar to what Vinicius did. It is attach 1 Grass to the Mew and do a Horn attack.
Yeah, Horn Attack is all the damage you need to do the knockout here. And it looks like that is what happens. Don't see the Electric being attached anywhere.
I think he gets no value out of attaching it anywhere, so he's just opting to keep it in deck for now because it makes more sense being in there. He actually gets lightning off his prizes too.
All right, so we do see the Mew knocked out on Vinicius' side. Promoting that Tapu Lele. There's a Float Stone on the Tapu Lele. It's generally a good Pokemon to just put a Float Stone on so that way you can bring it up and retreat it.
Yeah, it's really great to have a pivot to work off of when at the beginning of your turn, you want to be able to draw your card before you decide what exactly is you're going to do. So, the Tapu Lele, or something with a Float Stone being active just takes that thought process away. Now, there's going to be, starting off with a Strong Charge there, a Lightning and the Grass come out, and it looks like he's interesting. He's actually trying to decide where he wants to put this, because he could, I guess, put it on the Tapu Lele if he wanted to attack and do Energy Drive, and actually that is what he's going to go for.
That helps Vinicius out, keeps the Tapu Bulu on the bench away from harm, using only 2 energies to attack. That way there is still an energy on the board in the event that Matias finds some way to take out that Vikavolt next turn, having some options to attack. So interesting to see what happens here. Yeah. And he does knock out the Mew with the Energy Drive.
Yeah, he does. And then now that is going to be his 3rd prize of the game. But now back onto Matias' side, he has an Ultra Ball ready in his hand. He's going to discard that rare candy. Again, not going to be much use to him right now, given that he has no Grubbin out. And I imagine he'll just be going for one of his extra Mews here. Or no, actually goes for a second Tapu Bulu.
That's right, getting the second Bulu out in play as well. So we will see if that happens. Vinicius only needs 3 prize cards to win those, so once the active Bulu, he knocks out a Bulu anytime soon, really has more options on what to knock out.
Yeah, now another interesting decision that Matias has here is whether he goes for the Instruct now. I believe that supporter in his hand is Professor Sycamore, so if these Instruct cards end up being not very good, or rather not good to draw into to discard, then that could be a problem. But no, he has an N, but he has an N anyway, so it doesn't matter.
All right, yeah, getting that Grass Energy with the manual attachment is really big in this situation, because now Strong Charge can get both the Electric and the Grass needed to knock out the Tapu Lele GX, because, again, we played the supporter this turn, so we're not going to be seeing a Guzma play.
No, we're not. So that's going to be absolutely the play that Matias wants to do. Of course, it would be even better if he can maybe knock out the Vikavolt on the bench, but he'll take a 2-prize knockout over nothing.
Absolutely. All right, so we do see another Mew. Comes to the bench. So that way, later on, Matias does have the option to attack with that instead. However, Vinicius only needs 3 prize cards, so we will see what happens here.
Yeah, at this point, it probably makes more sense to actually just keep up attacking with Bulus instead, because they might be a little bit harder for Vinicius to deal with. They require more energy investment to get knocked out. There is the Nature's Judgment KOing the Tapu Lele GX. Now, back on Vinicius, he will have the KO on Matias's Bulu, because he's got the Strong Charge there ready to go. But what he needs to think about is how is he going to get that last prize? He hasn't got an Oranguru out right now, so if he gets End, that could be potentially devastating. I imagine if he can, he'll be trying to find that Oranguru now.
Yes, Vinicius doing the Strong Charge. We see the Vinicius is double thinking about this. Perhaps he's wanting to play something a little different.
Well, he's looking at Guzma. I think he's counting how many energy recyclers he has left.
Okay.
So, and he does have access to both of them, so that is absolutely fine. And if he has a Skylar in his hand, then he can just use that to grab the energy recycler straight away. And he actually just does the one energy off the Strong Charge.
Was there no more electrics in the deck?
There definitely was, but it looks like he just opted to not attach it.
All right. Well, these are high-level players. I'm sure there is definitely a reason for this. So we will see. Does get the Orin Guru onto the bench, giving the additional draw option, like you had mentioned, in the event of an N.
Yeah, that's very important for him. It's really good that he was able to find that. There goes the Instruct. He draws 3. And he goes and he finds a Sycamore.
Drawing up to 7 new cards.
There's a Lightning, so he can attach that from his hand, and he will have the KO now. But I mean, it's so strange because that was potentially risky. I mean, if he missed the energy there, then he would have been feeling really sorry for himself.
Yeah, there was probably another play, perhaps looking for a way to attack with another Pokemon. Wanted to save that energy attachment from hand just in case.
Yeah, I know it's hard to say, but either way, he has been able to get himself the energy, so he will be able to take the knockout, and he will only be 1 prize away from winning. But it'd be interesting to see just how exactly this pans out for the rest of it. Does he have a choice band as well? Oh, he actually does. That's pretty cool. So that means he can get the KO with Nature's Judgment and not have to discard the energy, which
using Tapu Wilderness instead. That GX attack hitting for 180 damage, knocking out that Tapu Bulu GX. And now Vinicius 1 prize card away from winning this game.
He is, and he's got the energy to do it too, which again, it kind of leaves Matias in that awkward spot of, I'd like to KO the Vikavolt ideally because it's 1 prize and it's his main support Pokemon. But if I do that, then he KOs me. He KOs anything I put out, so I can't physically do that. I have to KO the Tapu Bulu now.
Yeah, Matias, only one option: knock out that Bulu. Do everything you can to do it. You want to bring up your Bulu as well, I'm guessing here, because you have the additional hit points. Because Mew, very fragile. Only needs 1 more prize card from Vinicius' side, so looks like, and that's exactly what's happening here. A strong charge onto the Tapu Bulu GX, getting those 3 energies into play after the grass attachment from hand. Choice band attached to the Tapu Bulu as well, and we're going to see a tied game here in a second.
I would say a tied game?
Sorry, yeah, because it takes 2 prizes.
Oh, tie game in terms of prize. Yeah, okay,
prize.
Yeah,
1.
yeah. So I thought it was in that tied series, but
no.
Great. That makes more sense. But yeah, now it's going to be back on Vinicius. All he needs is a grass energy to win.
If he gets a grass energy in hand, so he can attach.
Yeah.
Using the strong charge will be good, or a double strong charge.
Oh, is he going for style points here?
It looks like it. Rare Candy, second Vikavolt, and he goes ahead and says, "You have this." So congratulations to Vinicius for winning. Very well played. Both our players came down to Game 3, each having 1 prize card remaining. They were both very good players. I really enjoyed that series.
Yeah, so did I. It's really cool to see the Vikavolt Tapu Bulu deck sort of in operation and just see how strong that deck actually is, especially when it gets set up. And both of those games, or rather all 3 of those games, the decks were able to set up really well. And it was just a matter of, swinging the hits in a way where you could make the prize trade go your way or otherwise. And it was really just Matias missing that key setup in Game 3 that meant that Vinicius was able to take the edge and win.
That's right. Game 1, we saw lots of use from the Mews. Didn't happen so much in later games. There was more of a Bulu attacking going on. So definitely there's different ways to play it. Even though it's a mirror match, and you think, oh, this was pretty straightforward, just power up the attackers and go from it. But anyways, it looks like we're going to be going to a short break here because it looks like we have an interview with our winner coming up very soon.
Yeah, don't go away. So it looks like we're not quite ready for that just yet. So
okay.
we're just